My name is Lucian. I'm 30 years old. At this age, a man is supposed to be laying the foundation for his career and family. My friends are posting photos on social media, smiling with their wives and kids at Disneyland, celebrating promotions at work. And me? I'm holed up in a crumbling apartment that rents for a few $100s a month, peeling paint on the walls, living like discarded junk, just surviving, waiting for something to change. My phone hasn't rung in months. I've blocked every debt collector, and everyone who ever cared about me has blocked me in return. Sometimes, during those fleeting moments of clarity brought on by alcohol, I stare at the stranger in the mirror, lifeless eyes, bloodshot, scruffy beard, greasy hair knotted into clumps. That face looks nothing like the 26-year-old who once stood proudly in front of the sandwich shop he built from scratch, full of dreams and fire. Back then, I thought I had it all. Or at least, I believed I was on the verge of having it all. At 26, my life felt like something out of a classic American dream movie. In our quiet town in Ohio, I used the money I saved working through college, along with a small loan, to open my own sandwich shop. I called it Lucian's Kitchen. I was obsessed with perfecting my sauces, experimenting with fresh ingredients. My signature roast beef sandwich quickly became a local hit. By noon every day, there was a line stretching out the door. I loved that hustle. The ding of the toaster, the rich scent of melting cheese, the satisfied smiles of my customers. It was a pure, honest kind of fulfillment. My girlfriend, Jessica, with a smile like California sunshine, used to swing by after her classes to help out. After closing, we'd sit in the empty shop, splitting an unsold sandwich and talking about our future. We planned to save up, buy a little white-fenced house in town, and get a golden retriever. Business kept booming. My bank account grew steadily. I was netting $4 to $5 grand a month. That dream house felt within reach. So I made a decision that, at the time, felt completely right. I walked into a Ford dealership and, with a $6,000 down payment, drove off in a deep blue Mustang. I'll never forget that day. Jessica and I cruised down Route 66, windows down, her hair flying in the wind, our favorite rock songs blaring from the speakers. That car wasn't just a vehicle. It was a trophy, a symbol that I'd made it, that I was no longer just some small-town kid. I loved everything about it. The engine's growl, the attention it got, the way it made me feel. I started driving the Mustang into the city, taking friends to the best bars. I became the life of the party, generous, loud, always the one picking up the tab. We drank, we raged, we street raced through the night. Jessica was happy for me at first, but she grew concerned. "Lucian," she said gently more than once, "you've been running yourself ragged. You barely check in on the shop anymore." I'd just laugh it off. "Sweetheart, what's the point of making money if you don't enjoy it?" What I didn't realize was that the moment you start prioritizing pleasure over purpose, the abyss is already yawning at your feet. And the hand that pushed me into that abyss, it came from a friend and a deck of cards. There's not much to do in our town on weekends, bars, or someone's house for poker. It started harmless, Texas Hold'em, $20 buy-ins, just for laughs. I loved the game, the strategy, the thrill of reading people and making bold moves. I read up on poker theory, convinced myself I was smarter than the other guys who just relied on luck. And honestly, I kind of was. I started winning, not much, maybe $50, $100 a night. But that money felt different from the cash I made slaving in the kitchen. It came too easily, too smart. I started using my poker winnings to gas up the Mustang, to buy Jessica that perfume she'd been eyeing. When she asked where the money came from, I mumbled something about a little investment. Lies are gambling's twin brother. Soon, $20 games weren't enough. I egged everyone on to raise the stakes, $100, then $500. The mood shifted. Jokes faded. Everyone grew quiet, tense. I became obsessed with every flicker of a facial expression, every chip thrown into the pot. I hired staff to manage the shop. My focus was now entirely at the table. Jessica noticed the change. I became moody. When I won, I'd take her to fancy dinners. When I lost, I'd go completely silent, surrounded by an aura of cold, dangerous rage. We fought. A lot. "You've changed, Lucian," she said one night, tears in her eyes. "You don't talk about our future anymore. You only care about your next game. That shop, it was our dream, remember?" I waved her off, annoyed. "You don't get it. I'm onto something bigger. One good night, and I'll make more than 10 years of sandwiches." I was completely consumed by gambling's illusion. I thought I was skilled, that my losses were just bad luck. What I needed was a bigger table, a high-stakes game, a chance to become a legend in one night. That opportunity came faster than I expected. A guy I met at a poker game messaged me on WhatsApp. He said he could get me into a real game, a $10,000 buy-in. Private poker, held in the presidential suite of a 5-star hotel downtown. The players? Wealthy businessmen and their rich kids. "This is where you belong, Lucian," he told me. "Your broke-ass friends will never get you anywhere." My heart pounded. $10,000, That was 2 months' profit from the shop. But I didn't hesitate. This was my shot. I lied to Jessica. Told her I needed money for a restaurant industry conference in a neighboring city. She was suspicious, but eventually handed over $10,000, almost everything we had in our joint account. She didn't know she was handing me the shovel to bury our love. I drove my Mustang to the hotel, feeling like a general heading into battle. I didn't realize I was just a lamb walking into the slaughterhouse. The presidential suite was suffocatingly luxurious. The air smelled of expensive cologne and cigars. Chips on the table started at $100 apiece. I was surrounded by men I'd only ever seen in local business magazines. They joked, they bet, barely blinking. I tried to stay calm, but my sweaty palms betrayed me. My $1,500 in cash barely earned me a handful of chips. I quickly realized this was a different league. These people weren't playing cards. They were playing image, ego, and wealth. My caution and math were useless against their reckless all-ins. In less than an hour, I was wiped out. Panic crashed over me like a cold wave. I couldn't leave, not like this. I had lost everything. Jessica's trust. Our future house. I had to win it back. I turned to my friend, face flushed, and begged. Lend me something. My luck's just about to turn. He smirked like a loan shark, transferred me $4,500 on the spot. 3 days, he said. Interest extra. Like a drowning man grabbing driftwood, I jumped back in. But a gambler in free fall doesn't win. My emotions hijacked every decision, folding too early out of fear, calling recklessly out of pride. By 4 a.m., I was staring at an empty table. I had lost all $1,500 of my money, plus the $4,500 I borrowed. I don't remember leaving that hotel. The Ohio dawn was cold, but I felt nothing. My mind was blank. I sat in the Mustang, head in my hands, feeling true despair for the first time. I couldn't face home. Couldn't face Jessica. Then began my descent into hell. The debt text came right on time. To pay one, I borrowed another. I maxed out every credit card. Then, I turned to online lenders. Fast approval. No collateral. Those ads were vipers. I took out loan after loan. Some went to old debts. The rest, I stupidly gambled again, praying for a miracle comeback. But no miracle came. My debt ballooned to $30,000. Collectors called day and night. My sandwich shop, neglected and mismanaged, collapsed. I had siphoned off its revenue. The bank repossessed my beloved Mustang. And Jessica found out everything. She stood there holding a stack of bank letters, her eyes hollow. Lucian, she said, her voice soft as a feather, it's over. The boy who used to make me sandwiches in the kitchen, he's gone. She left, taking with her every future we ever imagined, and the last light in my life. I became a ghost. For 6 months, I locked myself in that apartment, cut off from the world. One day, starving, I scrounged up a few coins from my pockets. I saw my reflection in the mirror, a shell of a man, and I finally cried. When you've lain at the bottom long enough, even the smallest step upward feels like rebirth. I cut my hair, shaved, and walked into Amazon's hiring center. I took a job as a warehouse sorter. Those days scrubbed my soul clean with sweat. I worked endless shifts, mindlessly lifting and packing. Exhausted, I had no energy left for dark thoughts. I lived in a shared room, ate simple food. Every paycheck, aside from bare living expenses, went directly to debt payments, automatically transferred, one by one, to each faceless creditor. This went on for 3 years. Over 1,000 days. I cut out all social life. My only entertainment was watching my total debt slowly shrink. I remember the night I paid off the last online loan. I walked out of that house, aimlessly roaming the city. The lights had never looked so bright. The air had never tasted so clean. I felt weightless, as if I had shed a 1,000-pound shackle. Not only had I cleared $30,000 of debt, I somehow had $3,000 in savings. I felt reborn. I called Mike, a childhood friend, honest, grounded. He'd never judged me, even knowing all the mess I'd been through. I told him about my new plan, starting a landscaping business together. We pooled the $3,000 to buy a used pickup truck and basic tools. We went door to door, handing out flyers, winning our first clients with grit and sincerity. That old fire returned, like when I first opened the sandwich shop. I loved the smell of freshly cut grass, loved seeing wild yards transform under our hands. Mike handled the heavy work. I managed clients and design. We made a perfect team. Business grew. Word spread. By the end of our first year, we'd made nearly $30,000 in profit. That night, Mike and I sat in the pickup truck, beers in hand, staring at the stars. We did it, Lucian, he said, clapping my shoulder. You really did it. I nodded, eyes damp. I thought I had finally slain the demon inside me. I even began planning to reach out to Jessica. But I was wrong. The gambling devil hadn't died, it had merely slept, waiting for me to be weak again. And then things started to slip. As business expanded, we became overwhelmed. New hires slacked off. Complaints rolled in. I grew frustrated. The daily grind of mud, grass, and heat clashed with the dormant hunger inside me for fast money. I got lazy, hungover, missed work. Mike and I fought. And then, like ghosts, the old poker buddies returned. They'd heard I was back on my feet. They messaged me on WhatsApp, not about poker, but about online gambling. "Lucian, this is even better than cards," one messaged, sending me a screenshot from a Baccarat app. "Turned $300 into 10 grand last night. You can play anytime. Withdrawals are instant." At first, I resisted. I told them I'd quit for good. I even blocked the most persistent ones. But once the seed is planted, it grows in the darkest corners. I couldn't sleep. That screenshot haunted me. Over $10,000 in one night. Mike and I had to work our asses off for months to earn that. Finally, after a huge fight with Mike over another botched job, I came home alone, drunk, and clicked the link. Just $1,000, I told myself. One time. Win a little or lose it all, and be done. I created an account. Picked Baccarat. The interface was sleek. The dealer, a glamorous woman in an evening gown. The sound of chips clicking was addictively satisfying. Everything was designed to make you forget that this was real money. And I was lucky. I hit several banker bets in a row. My $1,000 turned into $3,000 in minutes. The rush was 10 times more intense than any poker win. Adrenaline exploded like a volcano. Every defense I'd built over 3 years collapsed. I was hooked, deeper and faster than ever before. I started betting like a madman. $50 bets turned to $500, then $1,000. I poured our business savings, over $10,000 meant for new equipment, into the site. Online casinos are black holes that devour time and money. I ignored Mike's calls. Our business collapsed. At one point, my account peaked at nearly $50,000. I felt like a king. I even started browsing for cars better than my old Mustang. But the house always wins. One insane weekend, chasing losses, I burned through all $50,000, plus every cent of my capital. Desperate, I borrowed again, this time from high-interest online lenders. I lost that money too. I was back in debt, owing tens of thousands. Then Mike showed up at my apartment. He looked at the mess, at me, at the casino screen still open on my laptop, and he understood everything. "Why, Lucian?" His voice cracked with pain. "I thought you were better. I trusted you." I had no answer. Just silence. Shame. That was the end. He took the pickup truck, the one that carried our dreams, and left along with everything we built together. Once again, I lost it all. And this time I knew there would be no redemption. This is my story. A story about how the American dream was shattered, twice, by the seductive pull of gambling. Nearly $60,000 lost. But more than money, I lost my youth, my love, my friends, my dignity. Now I live in permanent night. Alcohol is the only thing that numbs the pain. It helps me forget who I am and who I could have been. I'm not writing this for pity. I want to warn anyone standing outside a casino, or already inside one, don't trust luck. Don't think you can control it. Gambling is a game with no winners. You're not just risking money, you're betting your entire life. If you've quit, treasure the peace you've earned. Guard it like your life depends on it. Because turning back means losing everything. The sky outside darkens again. I twist open the cap, drink myself into oblivion. And just before the blackness takes me, I see that 26-year-old again, driving his Mustang, girl by his side, flying down a sunlit highway. That road is gone forever.